Caught my wife red-handed planning to escape with a much older married man. My wife recently started a new job that involves her traveling for work on a pretty frequent basis. Things were going well with her. She was calling me from the road and talking about how much she missed me, and reaching out to me at almost every chance she had. Suddenly, after a week-long retreat in Vegas, the contact dried up. I didn't hear from her for the entire time she was in Vegas, blamed it on the time difference and her schedule, and when she got home, I noticed that she wasn't wearing her wedding band. When I pressed her about the band, she said that since she does a lot of work with her hands, she took them off to prevent them from falling into a sink. She does stage shows as a hairdresser and has to wear latex gloves when working with chems, and forgot to put them on. Something didn't feel right, so after she went to bed, I looked through her phone. I didn't see anything odd until I went to deleted voicemails and found a handful of messages from different times during the day from an older guy that she works with. I could still listen to them, and each one started with "Hey sweetie" or "Hey beautiful" and seemed to happen only during working hours or times when he was in the car on the way to his house. Nothing work-related, just calling to see how her day is going and things like that. I then checked her phone bill and found a huge charge for calls to Canada, where this other man lives, and noticed that they talked for at least an hour a day during work hours. I confronted her about it. She told me it was over, and we blocked the number from the cell phone account. Lame way to find a little peace of mind, I know. A couple of weeks later, she returned from another business trip and I found Viber on her phone. I confronted her again, and after a brief denial, she admitted that he encouraged her to download the app so they could stay in contact. I lost it, told her that I wouldn't stand for being lied to, and that we needed some serious help in our relationship if she wanted to save this marriage. She admitted that she originally started talking to him about work, but that these conversations slowly evolved into personal conversations and that she liked the attention, etc. We booked a small vacation and had a great time. It felt like things were going to be okay. We turned our cell phones off, hung out on the beach for a while, and just spent time together. She assured me that it was over and that we were going to work through this emotional affair. Last night, after getting a FaceTime request for her, I had a weird feeling, so I checked her iCloud account. I found emails in her iCloud from this guy. This is 2 weeks after our trip to Florida. Some were from his actual account, photos of his city, other random pictures, and some were from an obviously secret account that he uses to carry on his affairs. The ones that were from his secret account were links to different places in NYC on Airbnb. My heart sank. I called my wife, told her what I found, and said that now is the time to be completely honest with me. Even if I'm hurt by what I find out, if she's honest, I'll try. However, if I found out in the future that any part of her answers were a lie, there would be no chance at reconciliation. Albeit there's a small chance at this point regardless. She admits that even after blocking the number, she's been talking to him on a daily basis through Skype. They were planning this trip to NYC together. She mentioned that she was wanting to go to NYC to visit a friend that lives there a couple of weeks ago. I feel like a sucker, though she hadn't done more than just talk. She then tells me that he's told her he loves her, claimed she hasn't said the same thing. Said that he has offered to leave his wife, and a few other details about the relationship. While nothing physical happened, I tend to believe her since there's a big geography gap involved. All of the details that came out really hurt me. I ended up at the doctor's office today and now have a prescription for some nerve medication and a referral to a therapist. She gets home tomorrow. We have to have a long talk. I want to save our marriage, but at the same time I don't. I don't want to be some sort of overseer to her daily life, but I need to find a way to have transparency with my wife and no more secrets. On the flip side, this other man is married with children, and after searching for his affair account I found an XTube channel, with no videos, and an online dating profile in his hometown in Canada. I replied to one of his emails to her account with "This is Jenny's husband. I know everything," and left it at that, but I want to let this guy's wife know. My conundrum at this point is this the right thing to do because it's the right thing to do and this other victim needs to know? Or am I acting out of spite and trying to make my pain ripple through other lives? Anyone out there been in a similar spot? What did you do? Did it help? Update. I went to the doctor the morning after I found out. I'm on a script for Klonopin right now, which keeps me from losing my crap, but it wears off and I start to spiral. I shaved my beard off for this morning, after a dinner with my wife at a nice Italian place. We ate pasta, drank 2 pitchers of sangria, and when we got home, we had closeness. She told me everything at the restaurant. She didn't want to, but I told her if we were going to even consider healing, I needed to know that there are no more lies. She loves this man. She was making plans to leave and be with him. They were going to start a new life together. He's taller than me. I'm 5 feet 4 inches, maybe 5 feet 5 inches in good shoes. She's 5 feet 10 inches, he's 42, he makes twice what I make, and he seems happy. He's super corporate, loves Tony Robbins kind of crap, everything my wife despises, or so she says. Nothing physical happened. She would have told me after laying all of this on me. She knows that I wouldn't have cared about that as much as I care about this. She looked up from her pasta, said, "Do you really want me to tell you everything? You're just gonna leave me." I told her that I would promise anything, but this is what has to happen if any progress can even begin. We finished our drinks, walked home and talked the whole way. Part of me felt relieved that the truth is finally out there, but part of me is dying inside. We got in bed. We had love. I don't know why I did it other than I wanted to feel something. I wanted to see if she was still there. I woke up at 4:30 this morning and I can't get it out of my head. Not the details, just where my life is at this point. I'm trying to set up a first-time eval with a therapist on Monday, but I don't know how to keep going at this point. I feel crazy. She goes to LA on Monday for a business trip that will take her through Friday. I think I'm going to ask her not to contact me while she's gone so I can process everything. I'm going to focus on my training. I'm a martial arts competitor, and my work as much as I can. That still leaves me with the rest of the weekend. What do I do now? I don't really have any friends. Being a married couple for 10 years has brought our social circle down to just a few other married couples who all have their own crap to deal with, and there's no one out there that I can be completely candid with, aside from one friend of mine who is a psychiatrist. I'm not his patient, we're drinking buddies and foodies, but he's in another city, and I feel like I'm kinda using him like a person that has all the answers, when there's no Infidelity for Dummies book out there for this kind of stuff. Sometimes it's just good to talk about it, I guess, probably why I post here. I feel so rejected and used. I take care of the household and work full-time while she's out on the road, and she has no responsibilities when it comes to this life we have together. I wish I could tell her to leave her job if she wants to save this, but that's selfish on my part and would be just as destructive as having an affair and coming home. As I'm typing this, I realize it's a crazy stream of consciousness, so maybe I'll add something a little more sane in the comments after I calm down a little bit. The only good thing that's come from this so far is that I'm writing again. I used to be in a band with my wife, we toured around a little bit, but we weren't anything big. What would any sane person do at this point? What would any sane and love person do at this point? She wanted us to get a tattoo together a couple of weeks back, apparently during all of this, of 2 Indians in a canoe, based on the song Strange Vine by Delta Spirit. All I can think of is getting a tattoo of an overturned canoe. Update. I've never felt so alone in all of my life. I've talked to a few friends about it. I even called my wife's sister after she sent me a text saying, "Saw your Facebook post, hope everything's okay. I love you, brother," after I posted something vague about needing some cheering up and asking for jokes. I told her what was happening. I told her about the affair. I told her I was sorry, and that I didn't have anyone else to talk to. She said that she didn't know what to say other than she's a liar, and she has a problem with it. She told me that it's crazy that she was so outspoken about her father only to do this, and that she didn't know what to say. I apologized for even calling her, as I wanted to talk to someone that knew us both and would be an advocate for our marriage, but I probably made her feel so awkward. Their father abandoned their mother a few years back for his lover. My wife hasn't spoken to him in years, and is full of venom whenever her father or the name of his lover is brought up. We've watched as a family as her mother slowly lost everything and eventually had to move back home with her sister in Texas, bankrupt and alone. I listened in horror as I heard that her father hasn't been heard from in a while, and is thought to be mentally ill and potentially homeless. Before my wife left for LA, I called her by her father's mistress's name. I wanted to hurt her as much as she hurt me. I wanted to let her know that as long as the truth isn't out there, that the pain is growing like a fire. I still don't think I have the truth, and I don't think she's ever going to give it to me. Today, I got a text from my mother-in-law. She's such a wonderful woman who has had so much bad happen to her in her life. She was asking about my wife. Apparently, she hasn't heard from her in over a month and was worried about her. This broke my heart worse than anything that's happened to me. First her husband, now her own struggling mother? She can talk to Craphead on a daily basis, but can't take out 5 minutes to call her own mother? I sent her a text and told her to call her mother and let her know she's okay, and that it's crappy that she can spend so much time talking to this guy, but not even call or text her mother to check in. I went to my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class last night, and I got some relief. I took one of my Klonopins before class and I felt great after I left. I'm getting better, I'm doing well against people who are much larger than me. I think that's kinda my attraction to the sport. I always want to fight things that are much bigger than myself. My wife told me to call her when I got out of Jiu-Jitsu. Due to the time difference, I called, she didn't answer. About 10 minutes later, I got a text from her saying that she's at a team dinner. I decided to drink a beer. Then another one. I texted her back and told her how pathetic I feel. I lashed out a bit, then asked her if she had talked to him today. She denied it, but I don't believe her. I can't believe her. I went to bed. I had nightmares about her all night. I don't know if I even want to read this psychological book about affairs and try to have that talk with my wife when she gets back. I don't know if I can bear hearing anymore, but not knowing is torturing me. Should I just not talk to her for the rest of the time she's gone? She comes back on Thursday, maybe I should just disappear until then. I know nothing's going to make her care, but I think my wife might have some issues and might not be in touch with reality, and I'm starting to feel the same way. I found a wife's gift box from her coworker. I opened it, my hair stood on end when I saw what was inside. My wife is a pro at gaslighting, so I think I come here for reassurance that I'm not being unreasonable or crazy. My question: I recently found a gift my wife was given by her much older single male friend, the one I suspect she stayed with when she was gone for the night. The gift has been hidden for months. It is not an expensive one, but it's one of the cute gifts with a saying and stick figures. The gift has 2 stick figure images on it, with one touching the other's backside. With the words, "Good morning, you are amazing, nice backside." Is there any scenario where it would be okay for my married partner to accept this gift from her older single male friend? The fact that she hid it tells me so much. But like I said, she is a pro at gaslighting, and I'm sure she will have a million reasons why it is fine, or she did nothing wrong in accepting it and keeping it hidden. Edit: first, after the holiday, I am going to file for divorce. This whole thing is just so shady and makes no sense, and the flimsy lies are so stupid, it makes me think she believes I'm a moron. So after I originally asked her about the box, she has no clue I know what is inside, she was very vague. I don't think it's mine. It was in the tub of yard stuff I picked up from Joe's. I think it's meant for his ex. Then she changed the subject. At the time my thinking was this: what made my spouse think it wasn't hers? Yes, I know she was gaslighting. Why didn't she text him and ask about it, then return it, considering the overt explicit undertones in the message on the mug? She works with him and texts him daily. I let the matter drop. 2 days later, I casually bring it up in the framework of our discussion. Told her since I almost accidentally broke it, we should find out if Joe wants it back, or did we gain a new mug? Her response: oh, I forgot about it, I think he is at work today, I will bring it and see if he wants it back. Again, why not just text or call so she isn't lugging it around? See what I mean with stupid lies? I get home, mug is gone. This was 2 days ago. Today, I casually ask her if Joe ever got his mug back. She goes, yeah, he accidentally put it in the tub, it was for his ex, they split in the spring, mind you. She also doesn't know that it had a date on it that it shipped, and that was in September, lol. I didn't say anything else about it. So yeah, just lies from her. What ties everything together is that she just recently set Joe up with one of her friends. And last night, she complained that Joe and her friend are so infatuated with each other that neither texts her now. She sounded really sad. Then today she starts texting another male coworker like crazy. He is a good guy and a friend, you're right, she just can't go without male attention for longer than 5 minutes. Found out wife's recent Google search. It's obvious she cheated on me, but then I learned the whole truth. The backstory: my wife and I have been married for a little over 10 years, have been together almost 15. We both work full-time in pretty high-stress jobs in the same field, at different institutions. We are parents to 3 amazing kiddos ages 7, 4 and 1.5. The past 2 years have been pretty rough for the two of us as regards the state of our marriage, and this was a mutually acknowledged thing. I had wanted to get couples counseling last year, but she's essentially admitted that counseling/therapy in general is absolutely not her thing and was not interested. On my end, I definitely had been dealing with a significant anxiety disorder, unrelated to my marriage, and problems with alcohol to cope. She has been overall super understanding with me about these things, as I sought help, and over the past year, I've made huge strides in improving my health, both mental and physical. I'll spare the details, but I would say that over the past 9 months I've been in the best personal place I've been in for years. I carry an enormous amount of guilt about how I had been acting, particularly around my alcohol use, which entailed quite a lot of hiding my drinking from my wife and lying/minimizing about it when confronted. I know, because we've talked about, that I lost a lot of trust from her because of my behavior, and deservedly so, but I'm very committed moving forward to transparency and honesty about this. I also know that my behaviors the past 2 years led to a lot of emotional distancing, which was layered on top of an already tumultuous lifestyle we have with 3 young kids, very demanding jobs, and all the other stuff everyone is living through right now. So, with all that said, what follows seems so cliché to me as to be almost funny how banal it would seem from the outside looking in. Basically, without meaning to snoop or pry, I used my wife's phone yesterday because I needed to edit a purchase on Amazon and my phone was in the middle of a software update. I saw that she had been searching online how to end an emotional affair on a private tab, and it was clearly something she had intentionally looked up. After the kids went to bed, I asked her about this, prefacing it again with the fact that I had seen this by accident and was not meaning to pry. She came clean very quickly. I was not and am not surprised per se by any of this, and my only surprise is that I feel honestly pretty emotionally neutral/okay right now because of where things had been for us of late. She acknowledged that there was a colleague at work that she had started to grow closer to, also married himself, and that what started as a workplace friendship had gotten to a place of massive oversharing in an unprofessional sense and culminated in a mutual acknowledgement last week of a shared physical attraction. My level of relative non-surprise was sufficient that I guessed without difficulty the other party on the first try. I didn't press for exact details, I mean, does it matter, but the gist was clear. Suffice to say, whatever was said was the sort of thing that neither I nor this man's wife would feel good about hearing, and it clearly spooked my wife enough that it had gotten to this place. She had not been planning to tell me about this, as she sincerely felt that she recognized this had gotten out of hand and, says, she has no desire to pursue a physical relationship with him. I know that some of her responses yesterday came out of her own shock that I had found this, and I'm trying to compartmentalize them as such. On the one hand, she wants to minimize this as sort of we were behaving immaturely, like a juvenile crush, but she can also acknowledge that this was frankly inappropriate and wildly unprofessional at a minimum, and obviously hurtful to me. There are definitely red flags for me here. 1, she wasn't planning on telling me, though I honestly can get kind of behind the idea that if she truly had no intention of pursuing this, would I want or need to know, and 2, when I said that we can totally address this, it goes without saying that this friendship needs to end. I'm not at all asking her to blow up her career over this, but as I reminded her, friends don't usually acknowledge that they are fantasizing about each other. So, here's the ultimate ask. I love my wife, and I'm honestly not that upset about this per se, because I carry a lot of guilt about my own behavior the past few years, which did not involve infidelity, but clearly involved a loss of trust from her due to my own poor behaviors, and if anything I feel really bad that she was lacking things from me from an emotional standpoint that she is clearly trying to fill with other people. I am a big believer that change doesn't come to people who aren't ready to put the work in, and so while I really think we need marriage counseling, I believe her that I don't know how helpful that would be for her. I'm on board with therapy and see a psychiatrist for my own stuff, but if people are intrinsically resistant to the idea of therapy, I don't know how much it can help. I'm no Pollyanna about marriage as an institution, and 100% don't want someone to stay with me if they are done and vice versa. We have had conversations before about infidelity and our feelings about it. We are both children of divorce, and ironically, in both of our situations, infidelity had been present in our parents' marriages, albeit a much huger factor in the breakdown of her parents' marriage. Broadly speaking, my feelings are that infidelity isn't necessarily a deal-breaker, pretty darn close, depending upon the circumstances, behaviors and desire to change. It takes two to tango, and the problems in our marriage are definitely a product of both of us. Anyone else with any similar situations, emotional affairs, catching things at a presumably early stage, strategies to move forward, with advice would be so greatly appreciated. If anything, I feel like my wife's behavior here was more cry for help and attention, and that breaks my heart more than what I found out yesterday.